Camera zooms in on a golden office at night. A storm rages outside the tall glass windows. A lonely CEO, Ethan Royce, sits alone behind his desk, papers scattered, phone silent. He's one of the richest men in the city, but he looks utterly empty. Suddenly, his eyes fall on something small and out of place. A handmade birthday card, edges wrinkled, drawn with crayons. He frowns. He opens it slowly. Inside, in a child's shaky handwriting, it reads, "Greater than, happy birthday, Mr. Ethan. You're not alone. Someone still wishes you smile today. From Mia and your nanny, Clara." He stares at it for a long time. And for the first time in years, tears fall from his eyes. What Ethan doesn't know is that this simple card will change not only his life, but the life of the woman who left it there. Clara Bennett was a simple woman in her early 30s, kind eyes, tired hands, and a smile that somehow hid the weight of struggle. She worked as a nanny for Ethan Royce's 6-year-old daughter, Mia. She wasn't supposed to be there long. Her job was to keep Mia safe, teach her manners, and make sure she didn't disturb her father's important meetings. But in truth, she became the child's world. Ethan, the CEO of Royce Enterprises, was always away, business trips, conferences, endless calls. Mia barely saw her father except at breakfast, where he'd glance at her, nod politely, and rush out the door. Clara saw everything, the sadness in Mia's drawings, the way she waited by the window every evening, hoping he'd come home early. And Clara's heart broke a little every day. She had her own struggles too. Her mother was ill, her rent overdue, and yet she never let her pain show in front of Mia. She sang songs while cooking, braided the girl's hair every morning, and told her stories about heroes who learned to love again. Then one day, while helping Mia prepare for school, the little girl said softly, "Greater than, tomorrow's daddy's birthday. But he doesn't like birthdays." Clara smiled gently. Greater than, maybe he just forgot what it feels like to have someone celebrate it with him. That night, after Mia fell asleep, Clara sat at the kitchen table with a few crayons and a folded piece of paper. She wrote the words from her heart. Greater than, happy birthday, Mr. Ethan. You're not alone. Life is still waiting for you to smile. She signed it from herself, and Mia. She placed it quietly on his office table the next morning before leaving. She didn't know that this tiny act of kindness would change everything. Ethan Royce had everything money could buy, a mansion on the hill, luxury cars, respect, fear. But no one ever told him, happy birthday. Not since his wife passed away 3 years ago in an accident that shattered him. He buried himself in work, convinced that caring made him weak. Until he found that small, handmade card. At first, he thought it was a joke, some childish thing left behind. But the words, they hit something inside him he thought was long dead. He looked around his cold, empty office, no laughter, no warmth. Just silence. And in that silence, he realized, he'd become the very man he once pitied. He walked out of his office for the first time before sunset. At home, he found Clara in the garden with Mia, helping her blow bubbles under the fading sun. He stood there, watching quietly, the laughter, the innocence, the peace he'd forgotten existed. Mia ran to him. Greater than, Daddy, you came home early. Her joy was pure. And Clara froze, unsure how to react. Ethan knelt beside his daughter and smiled. Really smiled, for the first time in years. Greater than, I got your card. Clara's eyes widened. Greater than, oh, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't mean to intrude. It was just. He interrupted softly. Greater than, it wasn't an intrusion. It was a reminder. He looked at Clara, truly seeing her, the woman who had quietly filled the emptiness in his home, who had given his daughter love when he couldn't. Over the next days, Ethan started changing. He came home for dinner. He took Mia to school once a week. He began asking Clara about her life. And one evening, when he noticed her hiding a medical bill in her bag, he asked gently, "Why didn't you tell me you were struggling?" Clara shook her head. Greater than, because it's not your burden, sir. I just wanted to help Mia smile. That night, Ethan made a decision. The next morning, he gathered the staff and announced that Clara would be promoted to head of child development in his company's new charity foundation with full medical support for her mother. Clara was speechless. Tears filled her eyes. Greater than, sir, I don't know what to say. He smiled, that same warm smile that had long been lost. Greater than, you already said it, Clara. You reminded me that even the smallest kindness can bring someone back to life. Months later, Ethan's company launched a new program, the Clara Initiative, helping working mothers and caregivers with support, education, and hope. During the launch speech, Ethan looked out at the audience, paused, and said, "Greater than, sometimes the richest gift doesn't come from wealth. It comes from a handwritten card, and the courage of someone who still believes in kindness." Clara watched from the crowd, holding Mia's hand, both of them smiling through tears. Because one small act of love had indeed changed everything. Greater than even the smallest act of kindness can awaken a heart that has forgotten how to feel. You never know whose life you're changing, and sometimes, it's your own.